be who I needed to be. An African, they were African, yeah. Born of the continent where life began. They were African, yeah.
You take it?
Yes.
In Odongo?
Yes.
All right, that's beautiful. My brother from the East, and my brother here is from the Uganda. He said, I'm learning.
He is my Muko.
He's your Muko. What's that?
I married a woman from there.
So he married a woman from his Lua, and that's a Muko, because he's your brother, basically, because you married a woman from his group. That's beautiful.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
But I'm also giving a woman from my group.
Okay. You're going to have more than one, I understand.
So we are all Mukos.
Yes. Now this here is, if you look at this is a tree, and it's actually two different trees. Can you tell us the history of why these two different trees are here, but they are sharing the same space at the same time?
Okay, originally during the colonial time, the colonials brought acacia trees.
The Europeans?
Yes, the colonial. The white guys brought acacia trees.
So that's this tree.
Yes, that's true. Okay. If you go the other side, you will be able to see the roots. It looks like that tree. You see that tree? Mm-hmm. There's a tree there.
Yeah.
That is acacia tree.
Okay, cashew.
Acacia.
Acacia.
Eucalyptus. Okay. Eucalyptus tree. Yeah.
Okay.
Eucalyptus tree. Yes.
Okay.
And they're different blends. But this specifically was brought. It was planted in where the white settlers were staying. They would get the best spot of any community, and they would call it Chizungu, like the white place, or they would call it senior quarters. So they would plant those trees and other fallen trees, and that place would be completely different from any other place in the community. So every district, every small community, they would come on the most nice hill, and they plant those trees, and then they would take dominion of that place. The other place where they put these trees is a place called Kabale. Now Kabale is the western side, deep western side of Uganda. It's a hilly place, and it's highly populated. So what happens in Kabale, people didn't have where to stay because the white settlers went and settled on the hills. So the people had to go in the valleys. Now you should know, Africans never used to stay on the hills because the place of hills were a place of worship. The gods were on the hills, and the people are supposed to be low. So the white people came and stayed on the hills where the gods were. So the Africans were so shocked to see white people staying on the hills. They worship them because if you can stay on the hill, then you are the god. Then your god is more powerful than our god. So if you walk around Kampala, we have 8 hills, and every hill, some foreign religion sits on the top of the hill. So we have Namilembe, we have Rubaga, we have Kibuli, we have all these. When you take the hill, you take everybody under the hill. So these trees we are planted on the hills of every district, of every place. There's a place called Chizungu or Senior Quarter. Now, the other part of it is that the Africans now being chased from the place to stay, they have nowhere to stay. There are swamps. So they brought this eucalyptus to plant in the swamps because it takes a lot of water. So the swamps can dry up, and then they start being used by other people. And that's what they did. So most of these were planted in swamps. They drink a lot of water, and they dry up. Now, these trees have good things and worse things about them. One, they produce the hardest timber. The timber is great, it's hard and good. Not so much as African timber, but because African timber is the best timber we have. But they produce good timber. The challenge about them is that once you plant them, you can't keep...
Nothing else grows.
Nothing else grows around it. It will kill the banana plantains, it will kill the cassava. You can't grow cassava. Can you grow anything in these trees? Nothing. The land dries.
So if you grow this tree...
No, this is a dry season in Uganda, but see how it's green.
But this is not that tree.
It's not that tree.
So hold on, before we go there,
Yes, so this tree, everything will dry. The eucalyptus.
So let me just make it clear, so I make sure I understand. If you come into this rich soil of Uganda and you plant this eucalyptus tree, wherever you plant it, it's gonna start destroying all the other life.
Yes, because it takes a lot of water.
Yes.
And then the soils get spoiled. They can stay for many years. This is like 50 or 40 years old.
So it'll destroy everything. So then help me with this. Now let's go to the next part. So when the brothers and sisters in Uganda saw that this thing was killing their ecology, what happened?
So we have African professors here who are very stubborn. This tree, this that is growing around it, it is what they term like a fig tree, but really
Fig?
fig tree.
Okay, like figs grow up.
Yes,
Okay.
but we call it mutuba. Now it has different names. I don't know how these people call it. It is
Bongi.
the tree. It's called what?
Bong.
Bongi.
Bongi.
It's the one they use to make back cloth.
Okay, yes, back cloth. Yeah, we saw
Yes,
that.
this is
Okay.
the back cloth tree.
Okay.
We make cloth out of it, but the back cloth is used for so many things in our culture. Now, when the white man came, he told us the back cloth is demonic. You don't use back cloth. So if I put on a back cloth now, a cape, people will be like, oh, you have demons in you or Satan or what? Even if you make the back cloth yourself. So the technology of making the cloth from this tree is dying out. But when the white man came here, if you see their accounts, they get shocked. They got shocked to find Africans making clothes for themselves or making back cloth. They forced Africans to put on khaki, cotton. Cotton was not an original plant here. Cotton was got from in 1903. They bought cotton from UK, and they asked Africa to give up land and they grow cotton. But Africans refuse to grow cotton. They have no use for cotton. They don't eat cotton. They don't need clothes from cotton because they are back. This is the warmest cloth. It's still warm. It's still. If you bury this the cloth from it, it can stay more than 100 years.
And it's fine.
If you wrap it in a dead body, it sucks the water and keeps the bone together. So the bodies can stay for many years without getting corrupted. So even if you bring any kind of material, use the back cloth is much better.
Okay.
Now this material, they forced Africans to start making cotton to make clothes, but Africans refused. So they said that if you don't put on a cotton trouser, you'll be arrested. So they forced people to start paying taxes. Now if you want to pay taxes, you need money. If you need money, you come and work on the farm. If you work on the farm, I pay you money so that you can pay my boss his taxes.
Sharecropping. Yes.
So they all went to do the same thing. We work hard on the gardens, get the money to pay the taxes. If we pay the taxes, we are safe. We go back and do our things. But they said, no, you must put on khaki. Okay, so we have to grow the cotton and buy the cotton. But khaki is made from England. So England brings back khaki, we buy it. Now this tree here, after this one has taken over, somebody plants a seed. It can be planted by a bird or anything. It starts growing around this tree. It survives. For me, when I pass here, it's the hope of Africans. Even in the midst of planting all kind of trees that consume water, we still have African spirit that can wrap themselves around any foreign debris and they still become green. This is a dry season. If you came here during the hot time, it is cool. The birds stay here. The birds eat. You see the birds? They're flying over. They eat the fruits here. It produces soil. It pours more green. Amidst all kind of things, we stay, so we don't die. But there are more trees. My colleague teaches about, he's more on the environmental side.
And let me show this real quick. I want people to see this. Can you show this tree? We see this same eucalyptus tree right there. See how barren it is? Yes. Almost no green on it.
Yes.
But if we come back to this tree here, when the African sees themselves, the European has planted himself in African soil for the decimation of African people, the African must wrap our tentacles around the European and bring back life. And now
The birds come.
what was designed to destroy Africa has now been taken, co-opted by Africans, and no longer is it being destructive. Just like our brother said when they did, could you talk a little bit about,
Pine.
real briefly about the pine that they brought in, the Europeans, to dry up the Nile, and how now it's used to help Africa?
Yeah, a good place is, it's called Bukaleba. It's Eastern Uganda. It's in Mayuge district currently. So this was brought especially by the Europeans, especially from Scandinavia. So they brought pines and eucalyptus. So they took up land first of all from people. So they gazetted land, and for every hectare of land you plant with the eucalyptus and pines, you get paid some dollars.
So now, is this a tree or plant?
A tree, pines.
Oh, pine tree.
Pine tree and eucalyptus.
So this is different than what we talked about in ginger. Okay, so this is the pine tree. Okay.
Yes, and if you went there now, you'll find hectares and hectares of pines. But the local people there were growing maize.
Maize for making corn.
Yes, beans and other vegetables. But you see, like the African tree, like these ones, it pours down and that's fertility, organic. And this is beautiful. It gives back life. Now, once you plant the pine tree, it takes all the water, and when it shoots, nothing else
Just
grows.
no flowers.
Yes. So it affected like pollination.
The bees are no longer coming.
The
You no
bees
longer
are
get
not
honey.
coming.
You no longer get.
Yes. So it was not long before the local people saw the problem, and they started rioting. They've been burning the pine tree, and they are always fighting the government. So they have to guard these forests. Now they've become forests, and people are always burning, and there are fights and fights. Each time there's an election, the election is taken with Bukaleba because of the people then reawaken this problem. They are used to planting their maize, but now people are going hungry because the land has been taken. At first they deceive them that when you plant the pine, when we plant the pines, you weed, and you can also plant your maize. But once the pine grows, the maize cannot.
So they need to chop down every pine in this country and uproot it and then replant their stuff.
Which is not a simple exercise.
Because the pine tree is huge and the roots are huge.
Yes,
and it's,
yes. So we've been trying to tell the masses and tell the people and also people who are encouraging planting pines that we have African trees which are very good, you see, jackfruit, mangoes, avocado, guavas.
You can eat that.
Yes, you have the forest, you have the fruit. You see, the pine, eucalyptus does not give you the fruit.
You can do nothing with it but look at it.
Yes, yes.
And it kills your ecology.
Yes.
So it's a death tree to Africa.
Exactly.
And it was brought here by the death monsters, Europeans.
Yes, yes. So if you really want to reforest, to plant more trees, then why not plant species that enables life? We have fruits trees that can give us food, which we've always had, and we don't need insecticides or pesticides to enable growth.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
I want you to look to all our brothers and sisters that are living in the West, and as an African born in Africa that's standing up for being African, could you tell our brothers and sisters what it means to know about this new movement that's coming here called Straight Black Pride, what that means to you?
Yeah, you see, first of all, straight black pride, has empowered us. Now I can talk without fear. When these brothers came, at first we were timid a bit because you have all these forces on you. But then, these brothers have empowered us, and now I can openly tell them, and the people need to know this. See, we need to protect Africa, we need to save Africa for Africans.
We appreciate you, brother. We love you.
Thank you.
And this won't be the last time that we're working together. We're going to bring our brothers and sisters from across seas to come back and see what our brothers and sisters are doing here in Africa. Not talking about, but educating our people, teaching our people, and growing Africans that will take over this world and lead us into the next century. So we love you, brothers and sisters, and we like to say straight black pride.
From Nubia to Zimbabwe, to the ancient city of Ileife and Sankore, they were African, so we're African, yeah. They were dignified. was right. They fought for their lives so that we could survive. To be African, so enough African, yeah. Through all the pain, blood, sweat, and tears, they decided to persevere year after year, so we could be here to say that I, that you, that they were Africans. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They were African. They were African, yeah. See, first the Greeks and then the Romans came. Tried to steal our legacy and change the name. But we know and we proclaim that Africa's for the African, yeah. No matter how much distance or how much time has passed, our blood, our hair, our style, our lair, they're all reflections of our past. See, we got to love ourselves. We're the first fruit of the first seed that was planted in that truth. And when we dig our roots, we won't have to go too deep to find an African. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We are African. We are African, yeah. See, way before Columbus came, we were coming back and forth doing peaceful trade. Yes, sir, we had it made, cause we were Africans and still African, yeah. Born in the continent where life began. Yeah, 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 yeah. We are African, sure enough African, yeah.